House number 8 is known as Dr. Hall's house. It is located at 619 Main Street, Davison Addition, Block 10. Dr. Henry Hall built this house in 1905. Jason and Carrie Landrum now own it. The architecture style is vernacular craftsman, which was typical between 1905 and 1930. At that time, the houses were built by the homeowner or a few hired carpenters. The style was generic and often rather plain. This house has an asymmetrical floor plan with approximately 2,500 square feet living space. Fixed wood sash windows. It has 2 primary entrances, gable roof with box eaves. It has 1 fireplace. The narrator for this house is Mary Pat Lafitte. Her husband, David Lafitte, has family ties to Newton County Sheriff Charles A. Hancock. Hancock was sheriff from 1873 to 1884. Mary Pat now tells a little bit about Dr. Henry Hall and his wife, Aunt Duck.
Dr. Hall's office and drugstore were located on the west side of the courthouse square, Kaufman. The drugstore had a soda fountain. Irene Glover, who lives in house number 20, worked in the drugstore during World War II. Hazel Woods Wilburn told the story, The Good, the Bad, the Funny, Crossroads, that Dr. Hall was the first person to ever have a radio. Every Saturday night, he put speakers outside the drugstore and turned on the radio. Wagons full of people came from near and far to hear that radio. People sat motionless and stared at those speakers as though they were real people standing there talking to them. Dr. Hall was from the Burkeville community. He was the son of Willie Hall and brother to Harrison, Fannie Hall Miller, and Ina Hall. Henry married Mary Duck Davison, sister of Eve Davison, who lives in house number 9 on this tour. According to the 1918 voter registration records, Mary Hall was the first woman of 420 that registered to vote for the very first time in Newton County. It is mentioned in glimpses that Polly Youngblood's funeral was preached at in the Hall's home. In those days, even though there was a burial, sometimes the funeral was not preached until a few months or even years after the death because relatives could not be notified in a timely fashion or there wasn't an available preacher. It is said Dr. Hall had a giant TV antenna attached to his house so his TV could pick up the Beaumont stations. The reception was snowy, but folks were able to watch TV. Wrestling was the favorite.
Dr. Hall's parents were early settlers of Newton County. Dr. Hall began his practice in 1901. He also married Miss Mary Duck Davison that year. Dr. Hall and Aunt Duck moved from Burkeville to Newton in 1906. They had 1 son, Burnett, who became a dentist and practiced in Nederland. He eventually became Nederland's mayor. At Dr. Henry Hall's retirement celebration in 1956, he recalled he had delivered more than 5,000 babies. He sold his inventory to Siler Drugstore, but he, and I quote, planned to establish an office in his home where he could serve an old friend, visit old cronies, or attend to many matters concerning his holdings. Please continue to house number 9, where Aunt Duck was raised.